So you're doing your home painting project and you come across these brad holes, which are pretty sometimes aggressive dents in your trim. So just take a look. We need to fill these in. And if you're the type of person who uses caulking, you know that the caulking always settles in and shrinks. And so you just settle for that very ugly, sometimes unsightly finished look. Well, there are other products that you can use. On one of my videos in the past, I've recommended a finish from Bondo. And on one of the videos that I produced, it shows how Bondo glaze that's sold at Sherwin-Williams fills these holes in very nicely. The problem with the Bondo is that it leaves a very dark red finish that has to be covered 3 times. In fact, if you look at my video that I just did at the end of 2019, you'll see that the accent wall that I did has that problem, and you can see that the red is very dark. And so 3M makes another product, and it's called High Strength Small Hole Repair. They have one for holes up to 3 inches and one for holes up to 5 inches. But here's what I want to show you. This is white. Most of your trim comes in primed white color. But the problem is that when you fill this in, what happens? The next day or a few hours later, are you going to see that? You're not going to see it. You'll see this when you paint it with your trim paint. And this is what you won't see when you've been working for 5 hours. Can you zoom in on that? You and I both know, if you've ever done this before, you say, I missed that. Well, I want to show you a little trick that will help you avoid that problem in the future. Please come down here with me as we show them a simple trick that will help them identify their repairs quickly. And the reason for this video is so that you can get through this prep work real fast and efficiently. So I'm going to use some food coloring. It's a benign addition to our filler. And you can already figure out why we're using it, right? And it's simply to make our repairs readily identifiable. The only color I would not use is red. And all I want to do is just tint it.
What's good about filling in all of these holes with a different color is that at the end of the job, after you have filled all of them in, you can see them quite readily and easily as you go around to sand them down. You don't want to miss any. So it's a good idea to give them a different color other than white.
You know how you use a sanding paper and you use a 2x4 cut down and you may wrap your sanding sheet around it? Well, this thing is so cool. It'll never jump out of your hand. Those of you who sand regularly, you know that when you're doing this, your sanding sponge jumps out of your hand, right? Well, this thing conforms to the shape of your hand so much that the chances of it jumping out are small. Well, here's what I like about it. Watch this. How's that for speed? Okay? Yes, the sanding sponges are great, but trying to bend a fat sanding sponge around this profile can be quite difficult. Wouldn't you rather do this for $1? You get the idea. You can already see that it's going to be a real hit, right? Look how quickly you can identify the repair, right? Isn't that a lot easier than using a white filler, right? Now we tried the red filler with the Bondo, but then you gotta cover that red, and it's really time consuming. Watch this now, one. It doesn't take the green off, it leaves it in place. I highly recommend this process. So, to recap, I'm using 3M high strength small hole repair for interiors. And I'm using McCormick food coloring. The green helps you identify where you need to sand quickly, move on, so you get the job done quicker. That's why we do this. Thanks for watching. So here we are, about an hour and a half after the application of our 3M product. And I want to show you, before I sand it, just how good the product is. Now you remember why we colored it green, and this is why. Now I come around to finishing it off, and I can identify every hole that I filled quite easily, because as you can see, it's colored green. But using our sander, let's see how good we can take the filler down without having to do a second coat and without it shrinking. You can see how easily I can get into this contour with this tool, right? Look how nice and easy it fits in there. Done. Done. And it feels super smooth. But I'll bring you up close so that you can judge for yourself. I can't emphasize sufficiently the importance of using these sanding tools. And they seem pretty durable. Okay, let's bring you up close. That's just a dark spot. That's flush with the surface. How about here? What I did was, I didn't emphasize it enough earlier in the video. I overfilled it so that when I sand over it, the hole is filled flush with the rest of the surface over here and over here. And look at the beautiful finish. So here we are, 24 hours later, and I'm not happy with the first pass. I painted it to see what it would look like painted, and putting a light up against the woodwork, I can see a slight indent where I did my nail hole filler with this product. You don't have to prime this, by the way. This is the same base as your paint. Unlike joint compound, which is a different base, you would have to prime it first. And so yes, you could fill it with joint compound, and I see people do that, but I also see the same people not priming it. And then you get hot spots or holidays. Please don't do that. If you want to do it right, be a perfectionist. This is going to last you for years in your home. Look it over with a light, look it over in daylight, check it at different angles, and see if there are any indentations where you filled your holes. Let me show you the tool that makes these dents. I'm going to post a picture of the brad nailer, for those of you who don't understand why this happens. A brad nail gun pushes in a nail. It's called a brad, but for all practical purposes, it's a nail. It shoots it past the wood into the center of the wood and holds it against the wall. That's great. But in doing that, the compressor pushes the brad in with such force and pushes the internal hammer down against the wood with such force that it makes a dent. And so we have to fill these in. Sometimes they're pretty violent dents. And so what can you do? You have to fill them in. But it really looks ugly when people only put caulking in there and the caulking shrinks and you can see all of the dents. Here is a picture of the brad nailer that does this kind of damage to the trim. So that tip at the very top left, even though it has a rubber cushion, it comes down with such force that it makes these dents. So this is how you fix it. If you want to do it right, please try this way and let me know what you think in the comments section below. Just in case you're wondering, in between this molding, I'm putting grass cloth wallpaper. Please see my next video to show you this beautiful effect when you accent your walls with trim and grass cloth. Thank you. After giving it a quick sand, I now apply the paint with my Purdy 3-inch angle sash brush. And look how beautifully it fills it in. Look at the beautiful effect. What I want to emphasize about this technique is that this is not your quick way of doing trim. But I'm going to suggest to you that it's the perfect way to do it. I'll give it another pass with the paint to cover my green, and I'll show you what it looks like. What I'm showing you here is how to quickly do this and save time, but also get a good, effective layer of paint on your trim as well. This can be very time-consuming if all you do it with is a brush. I use 2 applicators here, one a 3-inch brush and the other a 3-inch Purdy roller. You would agree that rolling this on like this gets it into the surface pretty well, right? But that's going to stipple it. So look what I'm doing here. I'm laying out the paint so that it looks very beautiful to the eye. I'm making it smooth. And that's what I want you to do. After you get it on quickly with that roller, don't waste any time in taking your brush and going in one direction. See how I go from side to side, one way, all the way from the right to the left there. See that? You could go to the left, to the right, but just be consistent. Don't take your brush off of the surface until you've completed all the way from one side to the other. And after you've done it once or twice, it's good enough. Don't keep going back. The paint has begun to set up after a minute. You'll have a beautiful finish too. This is our finished product on this one. This has gotten 2 passes with the paint and 2 passes with the filler. As you can see, it's quite beautiful. One direction on your finished product. One direction. It doesn't mean that you can't go left to right or right to left. It means just go in one direction to finish it off. Just pull that brush along the entire strip in whatever direction you choose, but don't go back and forth. This way, I'm getting underneath it. This way, you will have what appears to be a spray-like finish. You decide. How do you want to fill your nail holes? I suggest you do it this way. Please click on like and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Don't forget to hit the all button. When you subscribe to my channel, that's great, but you won't get future notifications of all my videos unless you hit the bell that says all.